Welcome in, everybody. It's the coach, and you're tuned in to Madden 19 on EA Sports. On deck, we've got what should be a great matchup between the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota.
Now we find ourselves at the stadium that played host to Super Bowl 52, the wondrous U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. Today we've got a Week 6 matchup for you here between the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings. That's fielded in the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. So here are the Lions now coming out for their opening drive. Leading the charge at quarterback, the former Georgia Bulldog, Matthew Stafford.
That was a solid performance last week, wasn't it? 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, ran the team well, won the ball game. Bottom line, may not have been earth-shattering, but it didn't need to be.
Now a play fake here on first down. Oh, a scrap for the football, and he's going to come down with it. A good pickup there at 22. A big hitter to start the drive has him up near midfield here for 1st and 10. Now the Notre Dame man, this is Theo Riddick. And they're well past midfield, just a yard or 2 shy of the 40. They pick up 12 on the play there, and they move the chains.
And that's a run that'll energize an offensive line. They'll take that one all day long. Fundamental breakdown by the defense. You've got to be able to make plays on the edge.
They go play action here on first down. Blitz coming, and down he goes. Daniil Hunter in there to get him, and that's sack number 12 for him on the year.
Well, the pass rush has been a real strength of late. They know how to get after the quarterback.
Absolutely. 4 sacks last week. That's their first one here. Anything in particular you've seen from them or on film?
I think that they're winning athletically up front, winning those one-on-one battles, but also when the offensive line wants to keep everyone in and mass protect, they know how to scheme their way back to the quarterback as well.
And we look now at the Lions offense.
Golden Tate is a dream for a play caller as a wide receiver because you can use him all over the field. Use him out wide, bring him into the slot, circle him into the backfield, where he can take handoffs as a running back. But the key part of his game, run after catch. Usually one of the top players in the NFL.
And he's going to be swallowed up. Sacked back at the 45-yard line. Daniil Hunter in there to drop him, and his great season continues. 13 sacks for him now on the year.
Well, someone's closing in on the league lead in sacks. He came into the game in the top 5. Now you add 2 more to his total.
So here's the Viking offense making their way out. Commanding the offense will be Lamar Jackson, the electric quarterback out of the University of Louisville.
I like this guy, and the reason I do, he tends to stay on an even keel. Doesn't let too much ruffle him. He will manage the game the way it needs to be managed, take what the defense gives him, and then he can strike at times. Had a touchdown pass. Yes, he had an interception last week, but he found a way for his team to win.
He'll take this up just shy of the 40. Excellent display of footwork on that run. In a word, I would say productive, finding the end zone 3 different times.
Is it possible that you're really underselling it? 3 touchdowns, just going to call him productive?
Right. What do you want?
This guy had a nose for the end zone.
He was good.
Had a snoot full, didn't he? How about that? Big-time game.
Now a toss right to Barkley. And he spins past him and into space. And he'll go down, but not before getting this inside the 30. 34 yards there and a first down.
Sometimes those lines that are drawn on a grease board or in a playbook, they come to life out on the field, don't they? And we just saw that on that outside handoff to the right.
That right tackle, he gets excited for that call, doesn't he?
He does, because he just wants to dominate his guy and say, listen, I was the point of attack. I took care of business. That's why you're able to get downfield and add all those yards to your total.
Yeah, really nice gain there. And he'll get into the end zone. Touchdown, Minnesota. A great effort there. His 2nd touchdown on the season. And the Vikings have taken a first-quarter lead. Well, they ran the toss, trusting he had the speed to get to the edge, and he did.
And there really wasn't any doubt about that because the scouting report told you that this guy could flat-out run. When you give him a little bit of space and a chance to get there, He usually does.
Now for the extra point, Daniel Carlson. Extra point by Carlson, up and good. And that makes the score 7-0. Carlson now to kick this one away. That'll be taken in the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. And Detroit getting set to go now. And hoping to do better than they did their last possession when they punted the football.
Appeal to the vanity of your offensive line. Tell them that they control your fate. Leverage guys. Win the line of scrimmage. If you do that, you start to win first down. You win second down. And guess what? You start accumulating first downs. And that's what they need in order to not punt the ball again.
Tackle made by Eric Kendricks. Here now the starters defensively for the Vikings. They played extremely well last week in that win over the Packers.
I just consider myself fortunate that I'm not in charge of the offensive line. They gave up 7 sacks last week. And if things don't improve in this game, the head coach isn't going to be looking at the offensive line. He's going to be looking at the offensive line coach. And that's when things get dicey.
2nd and 6, just inside the 30. Off of play action. Here's Stafford. Looking left side, and he's got a man. That's Lang. And they nearly get this all the way to midfield. Mark him down at the 49. And a nice gain of 21 yards.
And there's a completion to the tight end. And look at the size of these players nowadays. At that spot, 6'4", 6'5", and up. A lot of guys used to be basketball players. Somehow came back to football. And that's really good for the game of football. You're getting better athleticism, great hand-eye coordination, guys who know how to control their bodies when they run their routes.
A look at the numbers for Mack from last week. 19 carries, 53 yards.
He's been a huge part of their winning streak because he establishes not just an identity and a tone, but the team relies on him. He takes care of the football, he gains yardage for him, chews up clock, and that's been a big part of why they're winning games lately. This has to go down as one of the simpler routes in the playbook, but oh so effective. Nice completion there, keeps the sticks moving.
Here with Charles Davis, Brandon Gaudin, as the Lions are in possession of the football here to begin quarter number 2. And they're on the move here. They've got it 1st and 10. Play action. Stafford. Across the formation, he's got a man. That's Allen. And they'll wind up getting this one all the way down inside the 20. Chewing up big yardage. Another nice gain there. This one goes for 20.
As far as tight ends go, this guy's not a speed burner. He's much more of an inline blocking type of a tight end. But how about this last play? Made a nice catch and picked up the first down.
That's what impresses me about him. When he's called upon, usually gets it done. And able to push his way forward here for a good little gain. Anthony Barr in on the tackle.
That's a strong pickup right there on first down. And as this drive goes on, we're seeing an offensive line and running game imposing its will.
Now a play fake it at Stafford. Throwing for his running back, and he's got him complete. And they'll bring him down at the 13-yard line. Call it a 1-yard gain on the play, and it'll be 3rd down.
So many times you hear today's NFL described as a space game. Get your best players into space with the football in their hands. That's why sometimes you just swing it out to your runner, get him out in the flat, and let him have a chance to make people miss an open field.
Drops it to Jones in the flat. He had a quick little spin move, but the door shut fast as he's dropped. Give him 3 on the play, and it'll be 4th down. Instead of throwing it downfield, Charles, they just tried to dump it underneath there. You like the call?
I do. I think it's a high-percentage play because you get the completion, and what you're counting on is your back to use his legs and his elusiveness to make people miss and pick up the first down. In this case, it didn't happen.
So they put together a good little drive there, but ultimately stalling out in the red zone.
Yeah, I know a lot of people look at it as a little bit of a negative. They didn't get 6 points out of it, right? Didn't get the touchdown. But that's actually okay. They got 3 points, able to give their defense a little bit of rest, let them settle down over there. So all in all, to me, that's a good drive.
The offense takes the field, and we turn our attention to Saquon Barkley. And we check the rushing numbers so far here into Week 6, and the returns have been really good. Now, you're starting to hit that stride middle of the season toward the end. They're certainly hoping they can keep up this production.
They are, because one of the adages in the NFL is that defense travels and defense endures even in bad weather, right? You know what else does? A good running game. And people want that, especially as you head down the stretch. You may play outdoors in some nasty stuff. You're trying to get to the playoffs. This is the time to get it going. And individually, I don't think you should just think about 1,000 yards either. The bar has to be set higher with this beginning.
And he'll lose yardage here, going down back at the 28. That's going to go as a loss of a yard, and it'll be second down.
That goes down as a loss against his rushing stats. But really, should he have to absorb that one? He had no chance on that play before they overwhelmed him.
Pretty much on top of him before he could take his first step.
Watch him now, Barney.
Now they'll run it on the toss. They find some open field here. And room to run as he's up past the 35-yard line. 8 yards on the ground there, and now they're looking at a 3rd and 2.
I know the toss play begins with the guy taking the snap and turning around and tossing it to the runner. But where the real intrigue is, can they seal the edge? Whether it's an offensive tackle or a tight end in the direction they want to run the football. If they do that, that's the result that you get, that type of a game. If they don't, oftentimes it's not a very successful play.
It's a gain of 17, and it'll give them a first down. 2 minutes to play here in the first half. More from Minneapolis after this. And we'll remind you that coming up at halftime, we'll join Jonathan Coachman and the gang in Orlando. Coach will have stats and scores from the early games going on here around the NFL. Now they'll run it on the toss. And he's going to fight his way forward here for a modest gain. 5 yards on the carry. Good pickup on first down.
Looks like they're establishing a pretty good pattern here because they've been very heavy in the running game on the last 4 plays.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. So far, 4 plays in this drive, all 4 on the ground.
Patriot! Over!
On second down, Cook. A beautiful spin and room to run. Give him 12 yards on that one. It earns him a fresh set of downs. His first carry of their second drive, pretty solid. And, of course, remember back to their first drive, really strong throughout that one.
Not only is he getting good blocking up front, but how about his vision to find the holes? And he's seeing things before they even open and hurtling through them.
They run again on first down, Cook. And after the good gain last play, this time they say, as he's going to be stopped behind the line of scrimmage. It'll wind up being a loss of 2, and it'll be 2nd and 12.
Wow, that play got shut down in a hurry.
As soon as the snap came, you could see defensively they were just closing in. That was going nowhere.
Yeah, you count on your offensive line to give you a little bit of space, a little bit of time so you can make a move. There was none there for him.
That one, 28 yards on the ground.
I can say this from experience, especially from a defensive back's perspective. There's not many things more terrifying than a toss sweep or a pitch play and all that beef out in front of the runner.
Yeah, I had an old coach say 3 words on those plays, toss or pitch. Set the edge. Heard them over and over.
A lot of times they roll the edge, and when they do that, that's why you can go for a long way.
They get it to him running left. Only a yard on the pickup there. 2nd and goal.
Well, Brendan, we always know that once you score 1 touchdown,
want 2.
You're without a doubt. And so far today, he's got 1, but was denied as he tried to get the second one.
He's going to get it running right. And he'll get in. Touchdown, Minnesota. A great play there. His 2nd touchdown of the game, his 3rd on the year. And the Vikings are going to add on to their lead. And that'll give them a 2-score lead here, but I'm looking ahead. They just want to hold it for the final moments here in the second quarter. They don't want to give up anything on the other side.
No, not at all, because if they don't, it almost had the feel of an imposing their will score. And right now, they want to make sure they keep that and carry it into the second half.
Extra point by Carlson, up and good. And that pushes the lead up to 11. Carlson now to kick this one away. That'll be taken in the end zone. And he won't return this one. He'll go down to a knee, and they'll start at the 25. Here's the Detroit offense now as they head back out onto the field. And what do you think goes on here in this situation? If you got the football, you're trailing, you're back in your own territory with just a little time. Do you try something?
You're thinking about jump-starting your team, right? You just mentioned they're down. They're trying to get back into the game. But you got to figure if something goes wrong, you may have put yourself in a spot where you may not be able to come back in the second half. Managing risk, this is a big decision here.
They'll operate from the 32-yard line here, 2nd and 3. On 2nd down, here's Stafford. And he fires one that's intercepted. Picked off by Harrison Smith. And he sheds a tackle. Now he's got some space. And a great return here gets this one all the way down to the 26-yard line. That late in the clock, second quarter, why not just run it a time or two and get it into the locker room?
What you're saying makes absolutely perfect sense. Run it and get out of there. But I'm just wondering if the pressure of today's NFL and the high-powered offenses that you're facing may force them into saying, let's try and get some more points.
And the Vikings now heading onto the field. And where the ball is now, you got the field goal pretty much in the bag. Now do you try for the end zone a couple of times?
I don't think there's any question about it. You might get a gift of 6 points rather than the 3 that you just noted that you feel like you already have. Be aggressive, go after it, and try and get those points.
And he'll go out of bounds in the red zone just inside the 20. A good run there on 1st down, and it'll leave them with a 2nd and 2.
Boy, where would these guys be without his performance on the ground? That puts him over 100 yards now for the afternoon, and I tell you, he seems to be getting stronger as the day goes along.
And he will score. Touchdown, Vikings. Saquon Barkley as the first half is winding down, and the Vikings find a way to stretch their lead.
I heard a coach talk about those late-in-the-half scores, especially ones that give your team a pretty decent cushion. He said those could be the ones that could finish off a squad if you let them.
Yeah, they've got the cushion. This half has been theirs. Carlson down to add the extra point. Extra point by Carlson, up and good. And the lead is up to 18 now. Carlson now to kick this one away. That's fielded in the end zone. And not wanting to risk anything here late in the half, he'll just take a knee and they'll bring the football out to the 25. 14 seconds, all that's left of this first half as they come up on 1st down. And they'll start the drive on the ground with Johnson. And he will lose yardage here back at the 23-yard line. That's going to go as a loss of 2, and it'll be 2nd down. So the opening play of the drive goes backwards. Now they'll come up on 2nd and 12. So we've reached halftime here in Minnesota with the Vikings on top. As we'll send you down to Orlando, and we check in with Jonathan Coachman for our EA Sports Halftime Report. Coach.
All right, Brandon, thanks. A few teams starting to rise to the top as it's time to take you around the NFL here in Week 6. We'll begin up north at MetLife Stadium over in New Jersey. And it's the Niners who have the lead as those two teams play the second quarter. Jimmy Garoppolo has thrown a touchdown pass. From there we say, so long, America. Hello, England. As we head over the Atlantic, check out the action in London. And for the moment, they find themselves trailing the visiting Cincinnati Bengals. A.J. Green, a touchdown reception. Lastly, let's get you to Charlotte, North Carolina. Check on the Panthers at home at Bank of America Stadium. And they have the lead over the visiting New York Jets. Cam Newton's thrown a touchdown pass. Meanwhile, in our game, it's been a back-and-forth first half. Who can put it together in the second half? For the answer, we turn it back over to our broadcast team of Brandon Godden and Charles Davis.
All right, Coach, thank you, and we welcome everyone back for quarter number 3. The Vikings have to like their position. They've got the lead. They get this football as well as we are back and underway for the second half. This will be taken in at the 1. And a nice return sets them up pretty good here at the 30-yard line. A first update now out of Jacksonville. The Jaguars extending their lead to a couple of touchdowns now. That'll be a game to monitor as we go along. So 1st and 10 now from the 30.
Set! Green 39! Green 39!
They begin with a run by Barkley. And some space here. And nothing but daylight ahead. Touchdown, Vikings. Saquon Barkley with his second touchdown of the game, number 8 on the season. And the Vikings are going to add on to their lead. They blitzed defensively there, but he was able to slip through that first layer, and then he was gone.
I think they won the leverage game, didn't they?
Yes.
Right? They saw the blitz coming. That got to him a little bit, but they leveraged it perfectly and found not just a crease, a gigantic hole. And off he goes, and he's still going all the way to the end zone.
Extra point by Carlson, up and good. And they open the lead up now to 25. Carlson now to kick this one away. That'll be taken in the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. So we get a look at the Lions offense as they get ready for their first possession of the second half. They're down in this game. A chance for the offense, though, to put something on the board, get some momentum here in half 2.
Try and get things kick-started for them. And you know at the half, they discussed how they were going to get that done. This is restricting.
The Vikings after him, and they get there for the sack. Daniil Hunter in there to get him. Sack number 14 for him on the year. This may be one of the best stretches of defensive football that I've seen. I don't know about you. 5 sacks last week, now 3 here in this affair.
I would agree with that, and I've enjoyed watching the skill that's gone into it. You can see the intelligence behind it as well. He's watched tape, and he's setting people up, but relentless. That's the one word that keeps coming to mind. He does not want to be denied at getting to the quarterback.
And they're not denying him.
We always talk about having to read defenses and how complicated that is. Well, this was an excellent read. Read the pressure.
And the pressure gets to him and brings him down. Stafford is sacked. Daniil Hunter in there for a milestone sack as it moves him past Hall of Famer Lawrence Taylor, who finished his career with 132.5. And they weren't in zone coverage. They were in man, and each man did his job.
And that looked like vintage, old-school coverage, didn't it? Man coverage reminded me of an old Raiders team. They had a Hall of Famer at one corner and a Defensive Player of the Year at the other, and they just locked people down.
They'll run it now out of the gun. And he'll slip his way up across the 30 to the 32. They get 2 yards back, but they're going to need a lot more than that here on 3rd down.
Oftentimes we praise an offense for their variety of being able to hit people with the run in the pass, but in this game, how about what we're seeing from the safeties? They are all over the field. Doesn't matter if they threw it or if they're trying to run it.
I don't think we've ever awarded an MVU, most valuable unit, but you're right, it might go to them in this game.
I like that, MVU. Well done.
It's Riddick underneath. It's a 9-yard pickup on the play, and that'll bring up 4th down.
That's certainly playing down and distance very well by the defense, isn't it? Take whatever you want underneath, by all means.
Here comes the Lions punter now, as he'll kick it away for the 2nd time. Oh, he'll field it in the end zone. Nearly a huge return, as it is. Still a very good one. 24 yards. And possession will switch hands, 1st and 10. And now out comes Minnesota. And coming off a one-play drive that was so deflating for the defense, what's their mentality? How do they rally here and stop this offense?
Well, hopefully there's some determination that sets in, because they weren't ready to go on the last one. Give all the credit to the offensive guys for getting it done, but to allow a run of that length, That's just not being prepared. So now, are they determined? Are they ready to read their keys and make the proper plays?
And we'll see how determined they are.
Detroit! Detroit! All right, now, lucky 56. Lucky 56. Gone, gone! Gone, gone!
Jackson. And down he'll go at the 25. The improv on the scramble there gets him 6, and it'll be second down.
And we have to give credit to him for buying time and extending the play. But you know, there's some really upset defenders on that one. They thought that they had him. Instead, he was coated in Teflon and got away.
Here we go now. Green 39. Green 39. Hot! Hot!
Now they'll run it on the toss. And maybe a measure of revenge there. He's had his way in this one, but this time they get him behind the line. They'll lose a yard, and it brings up third.
I don't know about you, partner, but I'm rubbing my eyes after that play. Did we just see that runner not get yardage?
No.
A big-time play by the defense. It does happen occasionally, even against the best running backs who are having big days.
Again, it's Barkley. And up to the 35 before they're able to knock him down. Give him 11 yards that time and a new set of downs.
That's how you get right up off of the mat, because on the last play, they stoned him in the backfield and dropped him for a loss. But he's the type of guy that scared me a little bit because he's not daunted. Just got right back up, showed some confidence, and picked up a first down with his very next run.
Now they'll run it on the toss. Spins by. Again, he finds an opening. And he will go out right near the 35-yard line. All told, it's an even 30 and a first down.
Outside handoff to the right side. If you're a running back, you love getting the ball early so you have vision to see what's happening in front of you.
Right tackle likes that call. Big play for him. But don't forget about the guys you always tell me on the backside sealing off.
Well, they talk about cutoff blocks, making sure no one can leak from the backside that can run a play down.
Yeah, nobody leaked. Big play. First down, here's the run with Cook. 9 yards is the pickup there, and they'll have a 2nd and 1.
That play wasn't quite as big as the play that preceded it, but still, gotta like the way they're moving the football, partner.
Absolutely. Pretty good room to run on that last play.
Yeah, they didn't get a first down, but still, you'll take runs like that each and every time, won't you?
Again, it's Cook. Skirts by at the 15. And he'll get into the end zone. Touchdown, Minnesota. A great effort there. 26 yards. And the Vikings offense continues to pour it on. He keeps carrying the ball into the end zone, and in this one, he's sort of carrying the team on his back.
He's the reason that they lead right now. No question about it. And you talk about on his back, he's not minding the extra weight at all, is he? Carrying that just as lightly as he does the football. Yeah, what a great performance so far.
Those 3 touchdowns, it's got him in the lead. An extra point by Carlson, up and good. And the lead will swell by 1 more. 3 quarters have come and gone. We'll return with more after this. You're watching the NFL. And we return, welcoming you back to Minneapolis, where the 4th quarter will begin with a kickoff following the score on the final play of the 3rd quarter. That's fielded in the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. The Lions offense, they get ready to head back onto the field. And down on the scoreboard, certainly needing to avoid what happened on the last drive, punting the football.
Sense of urgency has to take over for them here. They know the score. They know the situation. And by the way, the punter no longer exists in their offense. That's how they have to treat this drive.
They need points.
Big time.
And he'll get to the 29-yard line, brought down there. That throw good for 4. It's 2nd down. 2nd and 6, just inside the 30.
Set, lady.
Here's Stafford now on 2nd down. And he will find his man on the outside. And he'll get it up near the 35, right at the 34 here.
Well, that's what you're looking for when you're wanting to throw the ball downfield. You want one of those guys who can play out on the perimeter, can play out wide, who can not only get open, but when they're covered, can uncover themselves downfield and create catches.
And a big loss here as he's taken down. Daniil Hunter in there to drop him, and he continues to wreak havoc in offensive backfield. Sack number 16 on the year. And, Charles, they only needed a yard there. They try to pass the football. What do you think?
Well, I can't really go all out and kill them for the call because that 3rd and 1 fake and throw it over the top for a big play, that often does work. But in this situation, the pressure got to him.
The offense takes the field, and we turn our attention to Saquon Barkley. And he's already gone over 200 yards on the ground as we get a look at some of his solid work.
And the guys I know, they think about 100 yards each and every game. That's the confidence factor. That's the level they think they should be getting to. Rarely do they admit to saying, I'm going to go for 200 or more in a game. That's what we're seeing right here.
No.
What a combination of great runs, vision, power, terrific blocking. It's all come together in this one.
And nearly impossible to stop. Now they'll run it on the toss. 5 yards is the tally on first down. That brings up 2nd and 5.
But Brandon, pace comes into play now because they've got the advantage. They've got the football, but they've got to be very careful about what speed they're going to play. You know, my music teacher back in New Paltz, Mrs. Bythema Bagley, used to say, don't go prestissimo when you really want to go largo. And what she meant by that is don't go too fast when you really want to go at a nice, slow, deliberate pace.
I am speechless. I am without speech. And they'll take him down at the 31-yard line. They get 5 out of that one, and it moves the chains.
Brendan, every great running backs coach I've talked with has always talked about when you have great vision, you're not consciously thinking about your cuts and your moves. You're just doing them. And I think that's what we're seeing tonight. He's about running them into submission, hasn't he?
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was just going to use that phrase. He had to run them into submission.
Wave the white flag.
And they get him down, but not before he takes it across the 40-yard line. And now before this first down play, we're going to get a timeout here. It's just their first. They'll be down to 2 remaining as we step aside here in the 4th quarter.
No. Check. Patriot. Over.
They pitch it out to Cook. And taking it across midfield and inside the 45. Another nice gain, 16 yards there and a first down again.
Well, we're beyond the tone setting right now. This guy's been the bell cow all day, and they'll continue to rely on him to move the chains, drain the clock, and lead his team.
Now they'll run it on the toss. Not much there, maybe a couple as he's taken down at the 40.
Bottom line, they want to keep this clock rolling, so they'll take that one right there. They just want to keep falling forward, and they want to put the onus on the big fellas up front in order to bring this one home.
Watch it now, Barney.
They'll run it again with Barkley. They'll wind up getting 4 down to the 36. Time for a break. We'll come back and wrap up garbage time after this. So the Vikings in possession of the football as we get you reset. They've got a 3rd down now as they look for one more first down to help salt this one away. Now they'll run it on the toss. And they'll get this one to about the 20-yard line. It's a pickup of 16 there, and it'll lead to a new set of downs.
I've got an idea. Let's skip racing to the airport at the end of this game. Let's go to the post-game press conference. I have a feeling that the quarterback of this winning team is going to be giving a whole lot of credit to the running game and the offensive line.
Yeah, I was just going to say the offensive line. Yes, carrying the ball has been key, but those guys up front, they've made a lot of space. And before this second down play, we'll get a whistle, a signal, and a timeout. as they'll talk things over prior to this upcoming second down play. A rare misstep on that last play because the drive has been strong, but now it's second and 12. A toss to Cook. And he'll at least get him inside the red zone here, down to about the 19. 3 yards on the pickup there, but they've only got it back to 3rd and 10. They run it again with Cook. Cook with a first down and much more. And they're going to score again. Yet another touchdown as they just add to their totals.
Is it okay if I break one of our rules, partner, which is to never call a game over until it's over? Because this certainly feels like it's over after that drive.
Yeah, that was spirit-crushing, wasn't it? And now you just kind of felt the air go out of the balloon.
Yeah, they were fighting so hard to stay in there, and they knew they had to stop them on that drive. But when they were unable to, I think you're exactly right. You could see them sag on their sideline, and I think this one might just be over.
So that one a pretty time-consuming 10-play drive, and it's capped off by the touchdown run coming from Dalvin Cook. That's fielded in the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. Now the Lions offense, they get ready to head back out there. They've lost this one. Their offense has struggled. Do they try to put together something here at the end just to take into next week?
Yeah, sometimes teams want to do that and coaches want to. I remember one time I was on a team and we were losing late in the game like this, and you knew it was lost. It was over, right? And the coach called a running play and pretty much said to everyone, I want to see something executed well before we get out of here. And that was the message to the team.
Just something to build on.
Just something to build on, get it done, and maybe we can look at that and say, we'll get better as we go forward.
Caught right side, Tate. And he'll be brought down shy of the 40 at the 38-yard line. It goes as a gain of 8, and it moves the chains.
Never make the mistake that the slot receivers, especially the little guys like we're watching here, are just quicker than fast. A lot of them combine quickness and speed, and they catch a lot of footballs, as we just saw there.
Now a nice play defensively on first down as this is knocked away and incomplete.
Didn't have a receiver open downfield, and as it turned out, couldn't even find his outlet man because of the coverage. It was way too tight, unable to find anyone open.
Oh, a hit. He lost the football. Stafford puts it on the ground. And play is stopped here. Timeout. It's the defense calling the timeout here. That'll be their 3rd and final stoppage here as we step aside. Again, it's Stafford. He's going to let it fly. And he can't come up with a pick. Nearly his 2nd of the game. Instead, 4th down.
This defense was definitely alert to the possibility of the deep ball, and they were more than ready for it.
They've got the lead, 4th quarter. Maybe can expect more passes like that downfield. He gets this one away, and boy, it's another boomer. Officially, that'll go as a 52-yard punt. Not too shabby. And control of the football, switching hands here with very little time remaining in this contest. Now they'll run it on the toss. And for one of the few times here today, this run's not going to go anywhere. Officially no gain on the play, and it's 2nd down. Well, Charles, it's one thing to win. It's another thing to win and put up the amount of points that they did. Boy, were they clicking on offense.
They can't help but feel great about themselves, can they? I mean, what a game to put up that number of points, continually feel like they're moving the ball and things are working and clicking. They think that they can bottle this and carry it with them.
And as an offensive coordinator, you just don't think you can do anything wrong. Whatever you call, run, pass, it's all going to work.
That's called being in the zone.
So for the Vikings, their good start continues as they get their record up to 4-2. And they'll be able to enjoy this one through the bye week before they get back at it again. Meanwhile, for the Lions, the loss will move them back to 3-2 on the year. And they'll try to make amends next week as they host the Cleveland Browns. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Alongside Charles Davis, we thank our entire crew. I'm Brandon Gaudin. This is the NFL on EA Sports.